guess this person. That's not it. Hold on, you guys. Let me give y'all time to come back in here. This is so funny. And look, I seen Mr. Life over there. His broadcast say 100% believe. Okay, now I'm confused. Oh, here it is. It say part two. Here we go. Okay. See, I told y'all would not believe this. It was 1:11 when that phone cut off. It was 1:11, and I just had that feeling when I got ready to tell y'all what took place and what happened that phone was gonna turn off. And sure enough, it did. Out of all this time, but anyway, apparently, see, the devil is a lie. Apparently, um, the Lord doing just what He said because He had something special in plan. And I thank God for that, for opening up to me and giving me wisdom and understanding because it's been a long time. But like I said, the enemy tried to get in my way earlier today by making me sin because I was in that place like, yeah, I, mm-mm. At this point didn't know and feel like I wanted a husband. So, um, I was just like, Lord, I'm just fed up with people. I'm just tired of people. At this point, and I see what men feel like sometimes look like when you start dating or something. Child, if things is good when you're by yourself, just. But anyway, we gonna share this and we gonna get off here. I'm just give y'all time to find the broadcast again because it cut off and it cut the whole broadcast off with it. But anyway, the funny thing is, it's like the stairs that you come down, and I know that God is concealing certain things um, for me to be surprised about what is about to take place in some point. And here it is. I'm going down the stairs and I'm checking out myself, looking at my feet and stuff. And here I see, like, there's cameras and stuff. And I'm like, OMG. Immediately, I want to run and go hide. Cause like, y'all gonna run all this media by me before y'all post anything, right? So I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. And she's like, no, no, no. We have to get down here to what was that? Oh, she was like, no, no, no. We have to get down here because you were supposed to be down here to meet him at the certain point or whatever. So I can see a fragment that God was showing me that it was a gentleman that I was supposed to be meeting. But he didn't show me in full details. And I laid there for a good minute to try to get through the dream before so I could see what was going on. But the more I laid there, I had to go to the bathroom. So I was like, okay, whatever. At that time, the sun was already up and everything. I pulled the curtain back and the sun just went right through the window. So I was like, okay. So I ran in there and went to the bathroom and I came back. Still in yet. Like this dream, I did not forget, y'all. And he made it was so specific and detailed to me. Um, of how it was. And he was like, the reason why, because I know you'll be expecting it, you'll be um this and that or whatever. So that goes to show me all of these messages talking about you gotta be prepared for your whatever soulmate and all that. Oh, child, shut up. And God said, I know you. He knows some things about you, but he don't know you. And God said it's because there's something that's supposed to take place, which I know what He told me in detail and the reason why. He said it's supposed to look this way, and you stop fighting it. Yeah, I got rebuked, and you stop fighting it. So I'm come marching down them stairs, and they helping me down the stairs because I had on. But I noticed from the attire that I had on. Oh, thank you, Holy Spirit. That wasn't a dress. That was a. I had on heels that I like. Oh my God. I was looking at my feet, y'all. They were so pretty in these heels. And I had on this pantsuit. Oh my goodness, oh Lord. Yes, I did. And that bad baby was nice. And but it was I'm kind of short, so it kind of the lifting in the pants and the heels that I had on. And that's why they was making sure I got down the stairs without falling or anything. So I got like halfway down the stairs. At the halfway point, you can see up under where the beam was where you come down the stairs and you couldn't see. And it was like a spiral to the stairs. So when I came around the little spiral part and I was looking, the first thing I saw at the end of the stairs, there was a camera. And right beside that in a chair sits what a man name? Steve Harvey. Yeah. And when I said it to my grandbaby, she said, that sounds just like him, Nana. He says things like that. It was so crazy. And I'm sitting up here and I'm like, oh my God. Because I said I was going to share the dream with nobody. But I was coming down the stairs and you could see me blushing. But I was so odd because Steve Harvey is sitting here. He's full fledged celebrity dress, but he wasn't with Margie. Maybe because she looked like she white too. Whatever the lady is, she looked like she was white. So it could have been his wife, but it was just a beautiful woman that he was sitting there with. And Margie is high yellow too, so hey, it could have been, but it didn't look like her. And Steve Harvey, as I was coming down the stairs, he said, "Now that's the way it's supposed to be." And he was like, he was like, "That's right. That's how you do it." And he was, and he was just rooting me on, and I was odd, and I was like, "Not Steve Harvey, and what he doing here?" So I don't know, cause it was a lady or something, and it seemed like she said something, cause his facial expressions had changed when she said that, and he was like, I like that. I like what you got on. Come on down here now and show you. You know how Steve Harvey them be comedians and they be talking. So by the time I got to the end of the stairs, I had went down to the thing. She had took me down there because I was like, I don't know where y'all taking me, but I'm not going nowhere until my hair is just like I want it. So I had my own stuff that I had brought with me, and it was like some gel or something or whatever because I wanted my edges and everything to lay just perfectly in a certain way. And she was the one supposed to be. So she wants to cut the fool and talk to somebody. And she delayed. I said, didn't you tell me I had to be in a hurry and I had to get to where I need to? So I was like, well, I'm finna go do it myself. Confirmation. So I left her and she was like, no, 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 no. You go back and I'm finna get the accessories that you need that you asked me to bring. So whatever. By the time she had came back, I had done fixed my own self up and got everything the way I like it. And somebody had came to the door. They was escorting me to wherever he was. And that's when I had to get up and go to the bathroom. But it was just that's what I was trying to tell y'all the Steve party Harvey part. It tripped me out. I mean, he had me laughing so hard, but at the same time, I was odd because I was like, OMG. Because Margie don't be playing when she be dressing, baby. She don't be playing with it. And I was just like, oh My God. So I would like ask no questions or whatever. But each time, I'm telling you, God keep this man so concealed. And it ain't just because of his prayers, because this has been probably before this man even know who I was, child. Um, Back over 15 years ago, it was the same thing. And I preached a sermon. I sure did. I remember when God showed it to me, and I was preaching while my leaders was out of town. And when I went to preaching about it, it came out, and I said how God showed me that I was finna marry the wrong man, and it made me like it kind of made me freeze up. You know what I mean? It kind of made me freeze up because I was like, well, then if that's the case, now I gotta be so cautious. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna tell you something that I did in hopes that it help y'all when it come to the way you address God and the things that you say out your mouth. I got so angry, you guys. I was just like, I'm over it. You God, and you want what's best for me and all that, and you mean to tell me this the best you can do, this online thing and these people and yada 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 yada. One day, I mean, I was in the room and I was, ooh, okay. So I jumped in my car and went by the river. Let me tell y'all something. When this happened, I felt it, and I knew that I overspoke, and God called me on my words, y'all, till this day. So now I've been put in a position that this is the route that I've had to take because I got angry with God and I went to yelling and I said, you put all this prophetic word in me and you say you trusted me. Yes, me. This I told y'all, I don't tell y'all nothing crazy, something that I ain't experienced. No, I be telling y'all. It's maybe a lot of things that I may not tell you and me, but it's gonna be of God's word and his experience, not no making no stuff up. And that's when I know when people be teaching certain stuff that is not true and what be true. And it can be a dangerous thing. It can. And the proof is Jonah and Samson and David and who else did something that they had no business when God, oh, Paul. And those are different forms of God's wrath and judgment. And in a couple of cases, God showed his mercy. But in other places, he literally took these people out of here. And that let me know not to play with God. Because when you think other people or you done got away with something for so long, you just don't know when God gonna pull your card, like boom, and you out of here. Once that happen, you ain't got no chance no more. So what is it worth? That's why I be trying to I don't know about other people. But that's my life. And since I was younger, I felt this way. Why should I lie about my life? If I can't lie to God, God sees everything and he knows all. So if I can't lie to him, why fake the funk and pretend to other people to be something that I'm not? I am who God say I am. Amen. However long it take me to arrive, whatever levels I need to be in that's my life. Lord have mercy. Let me hurry up, because he really don't want me to share this testimony. He don't want me to get this out. I don't know. Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for being here. But this phone just cuts up and stuff. Certain things be going on in the atmosphere that's beyond my control. But I tried. Just pray with me. But anyway, let me hurry up before I go to cut the food again. Um, being that one of my children's father passed away, and he was just 40. No, he was 30, 36, 7, 8, something like that. I think it was. And the weirdest thing ever for me to hear, because have been knowing him since I was uh, we was teens too. Um, is that he asked God, he asked God to allow him. I hope y'all can hear me. He asked God, okay, we can hear each other, to allow him to see my daughter graduate. And apparently, he didn't factor in college, but God answered his prayer. Um, he died a week before she had went to a we had took her to a prestige college. Um, and she got the news a week before her graduation of college. Yeah. So he kept kind of telling me that how the seizures was getting bad and stuff, and he was doing him. The warrior he was, he didn't want to live like that. He had been dealing with that a long time in his life, and I just didn't know to what extent, you know. But um, age don't mean nothing when it comes to God, because you just don't know. I remember like sometime right after that when we buried him that I read the news, and that was that day that this happened to this girl. She had went through something very harsh in her life with somebody, and she finally like felt that God sent her the one that they both was happy. Everybody was talking about how happy they was. It was about they had actually got married. Ooh, confirmation. And I think it was 2 weeks they was married. And it was right up the street from where I was shopping that this accident took place. But they was crossing the thing to go eat or something, her and him. And guess what? The guy that she married, 2 weeks, DOA. So she felt like, well, God, this at this point, she's feeling like this a curse. And they did an update on her. And guess what happened? Because she didn't think nobody else was going to come into her life to fulfill what God had blessed her with that man, because she had been through a bad situation anyway. She wasn't healed. She had just been through something devastating. And here it is. They go to plan the funeral of this man that she just met. And how about guess what met her? What she thought she was finna bear. So before he can get in the ground good, God sent somebody in her life. He helped her grieve. He made sure that she knew that he didn't want anything from her. He just wanted her to be happy. He just wanted her to heal. And he understood that she had just lost the man that she had been married to for 2 weeks. And it hadn't been that long that they dated. But the man had wanted to go ahead and get married to this girl. And they had it, I don't know how to tell you how to look it up on the news, but it was in Tampa. That it happened on like Hillsborough, I believe it was. And I remember when I saw it, I think I was in the parking lot eating Popeyes, and all the ambulance, all these people, all this stuff was going that way. And when they showed it, because I wanted to see what it was that was going on, and I heard it, just made my heart melt. And I said, now I'm afraid to, date somebody. Um, and I was just like, Lord, please don't do that to me. And so God was like, you can't look at your life that way because there's not, but there's a profound story attached to her life. And there's something very courageous because she went through some very devastating situations. And just imagine that person that she thought was the one and all finally enter into her life, and then they married for 2 weeks and walking over somewhere to eat, crossing the highway, and she loses this person that she waited all this time for, y'all. That's just beyond me crazy. And I hear people. So see that, I'm gonna get off of here. I don't know. Maybe I'm touching into somebody's story, or something is being revealed, but I don't want to do that because that's crazy. Remember, this whole broadcast just went off. I just did put up another one. Now all of a sudden the phone keep cutting off, and I'm standing there talking to y'all, and all of a sudden the earpiece, which was full when we got on here, it says power off. When I'm telling you, I say, "Oh God, just okay, we finna go. We just finna go." But anyway, if y'all going through that same situation and that same thing, trying to get an understanding, uh-oh, yeah, trying to get an understanding of what God is trying to do, and it can be nerve wracking. It can bring your stress levels up. Believe me, I know. uh, because I have to continuously be watching because of who I am, who I'm connecting to, and stuff like that. Because I know that the devil has some evil intentions, honey. And it's just, you just got to do what you got to do, what you have to do, because he will set up some stuff for you and have you messed up. And I had to live enough of what I had to go through to learn that right there. Because what you have to understand, the reason why I got angry with God like that is because I felt like I submitted myself at a very early age by me getting saved and waiting on God to deliver what He said He was going to deliver in my life, if that makes sense. I was waiting on Him to deliver what He said, and then all these whatever them is that tried to enter into my life in between that, Then a whole scandal break out, a whole conspiracy, people trying to do this. And I was like, oh my God, you just can't be kidding me. I'm only one person. Like, how much more? I done been through stuff all my life. And you mean to tell me it's not for me to be happy? Oh, the devil is a lie. So during that time, I was just like, uh, well, why don't you don't trust me enough to choose who I want to choose? And I'm in the middle of the thing, Chad, at the river, and I'm just yelling at God. Oh my God. Y'all, do y'all know that's when all this stuff started happening? And he had already told me it was somebody with the name Jay who said something about Joseph. It was a Joseph and a Jose. And I'm like, God, what in the world is going on? And all of these scammers, all of these people just kept, I mean, I was bombarded left and right, left and right. I was put through a whole test to see if I was going to choose God or if and trust Him with what I know His desires was for me, the husband that He was sending me. Or was I gonna choose this mess right here and look like everybody I met was another rendition of the people in the past? So I already knew, like I know. So he tested me to see if I ever wanted anything to do with the past again. I rejected every last one of them, and it was nobody but God. But He actually put me through the ringer and the test, and it caused me to wait even more. You think before God that you are patient, He will show you you're not patient. No. And I told y'all that before. I remember I was getting on here and I was saying, my middle name today is Patience. That is what he did to me. And I was so tired. I was just like, God, you know what? It's a done deal. That's over. Because at this point, if I deal with another immature man, it's one thing for somebody to be younger than me, but it's another thing for them to be immature. I can't do it. I'd rather just be by myself and leave it on that. My golden years, honey. But to deal with another immature fella, I just can't do it. My this beyond patience. My nerves is saying, look, no, this man gotta have structure. He has to be, yeah, alive. I don't expect him to be perfect. But if you stand on business, you stand on business. That's regardless. That's that. And I mean that's even with children. I tried that with the person that I met online. The person thought I was head over heels in love. No, I knew somebody sent him towards me, but I tested him. I ain't telling my business nothing. I tested him just to see what type of man he was and to see was it really what I was hearing the Lord tell me somebody sent this demon towards me. Okay, so this man was stalking me around town and stuff. I knew from there because he didn't. How otherwise would he know who I was? Just by way of the app. And I would play like I didn't see him. And then he would wait a couple of minutes when I done passed by him, then he'll call me. But he'd never stay on the phone for like 5 minutes. So first of all, that was one of the things that I was like, no, whoever this is gonna have to have communication skills like me. Well, he was picking it up because he was going to tarot readers and probably was one himself because I see that spirit on him. And to verify it to be true, that girl AEL I was telling y'all about, that was the person. And when she said, send me his picture, and I sent that picture to her, and she said, you know what, you are exactly right, because she was in church before, and I didn't know anything about divination. Um, and I was telling her, and I said, you know, it's really weird, but it's something, but I don't know what it was. And God was like, no, he was to make a decision at that moment. and he failed in what God was calling him to do. And I got to be involved in it, whatever. And I was like, Lord, I ain't trying to say why me, but what is all of this? But y'all don't realize what I had to go through and how heavy this was. And he sent me men from all walks of life, you guys. One of the dudes was a chef um, on Instagram, and the man had a toothache and asked me to wire him some money because he couldn't even afford to get the money to buy something for the toothache. Y'all, this is crazy. For like how many years? It's a couple of years. And that's when I had told God that I just, to meet somebody, I was just going to come down from preaching or whatever. And just once I meet my spouse and everything and whatever, and then I'll go back to preaching. God was like, He was like, no, you're not. Y'all, I had another thing coming. So forgive me if you need to, but I don't apologize. Because from what God taught me in that situation, mm-mm. You gonna need more than a reader to be trying to tell me, talking about this who God know. Like I told the Lord, I'm gonna have to know that I know that I know that I know. That's enough. And don't be talking about reconciliation about my past or whatever. The past could mean somebody just seeing me in crossing paths with one another. That's why I say I don't have time to deal with all that complex mess. Life is complex enough as it is when we make it that way. All the extra foolishness though. But he really did um, make me get myself right back in alignment with him. And good thing I wasn't one of those people that was hot in my flesh and stuff like that. Don't I would have been in a bad situation because these people was intended to get rid of me. Okay, just for rejecting somebody and a evil what they call him my mama, which is not the lady was married to my daddy. Okay, and apparently my daddy left something or something or whatever. I don't know. We're not gonna even get into all of that. But all of this stuff was embedded in the one stuff I had no idea. And God was revealing to me. We had soldiers come in as scammers talking about this and that, and that's how I learned who scammers was. And I was thinking I was helping, trying to send some money to help somebody feed their children, help somebody with their children. But we have a lot of that service members and stuff in our family. So that's what touched my heart. It wasn't that, but I wasn't paying no attention to other stuff and stuff like that. And then just all of a sudden, so it's a thin line. You want to be careful, and the enemy will do that. I told you, he can't move you out of place, but what he can do is that right there and cause you to use your mouth, that weapon right there, and speak something out of his time or something that you should not out of anger. That's what got Moses in trouble. He told him, you will see the promised land, but you're not going to be able to enjoy it. Ain't that something? If you done went all that way, you done worked all this time, you done did all of this, and then boom, you can see it and you die. You don't get a chance to enjoy it. All because you was angry. All because you disobeyed God. All because you no. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. And that's why I learned it's not worth it. I don't care what nobody else is doing. That's not gonna make Natalie do nothing. Cause guess what? When I was there, nobody was there. And I felt that tonight, when I picked up my phone, and I didn't even say this to the person, but I felt like at that point I was gonna open up because I needed somebody to talk to myself. They called me, and I know they wanted to talk to me and express some things to me. But it was insane. The more I tried to open up and get out my situation, she kept interrupting and listening to other people instead of me. And she didn't even realize the whole thing. I was already talking to her in code. in case somebody was trying to record our phone calls or whatever the case may be. And I just got so frustrated. I was like, okay. And then the other person came in. She starts back, well, I'll call you tomorrow, whatever. So I came in here. I didn't have a bad attitude about it or anything like that. But I took a little bit of more of a walk while I was outside. And I was like, Lord, if you don't do something, I don't know how long little Miss Natalie gonna be hanging in here. Because I don't know how much longer I can tolerate people. Because they get on my nerves. And I'm like, I'm tired of taking the blame for everything. I'm tired of people trying to gut punch me and all that when I'm always the one bleeding, trying to make sure that, when people get to where they want to be in life and they think they're doing better than you or they think this and that, they high on themselves or whatever, however they think, I don't know. I didn't say that was the case. I just said that's the way people think, okay? And so I was like, you know, Lord, all right, here am I. You got to do something. I told you what I kept hearing throughout while I was sitting there. And I say, well, the fact that I didn't know how to do this thing private and it just went totally out the door when I went to push play. And I said, oh God, I was like, this has to be for somebody and me because I knew my mind state and my position. Just because you saved and just because you're a leader don't mean you don't have mind battles and don't mean he just gives you the weapons of warfare and he teaching you that your warfare is spiritual, that you need to know what you're fighting against and it's not people. The devil, the Satan is the prince and power of the what? The air. So he deals with thoughts. And he plants those thoughts and those seeds, hoping for them to water. And then what happens? That's what ends up growing and surfacing in your life. Why? Because every seed that's planted must be watered. If you don't dig up that seed before it take root. So that's the part of spiritual warfare that many people don't teach. And we sit up here and because we don't want to say nothing and you like got our mouths clamped and all that kind of stuff. In certain things, even when it comes to prayer, you need to be able to open your mouth and directly deal with the enemy. If you sit there and be quiet and you keep letting him dump all them thoughts and thoughts and thoughts, and you still get anger, feelings, and all these things that you're neglecting to get rid of, what's going to happen? Because it's just like the tree growing and whatever. It just keep building into mounds and mountains and all of that. And while you're going on with your daily life, then all of a sudden something happened. Boom. Why? God been watching it all the time. But he gave you the tools that you need and he makes you aware. But what do you do about it? Eli and his sons. See what I mean? He disciplined them. Well, he disciplined them, but he didn't correct them. He went and told them that God seen what they was doing or whatever, but because they was his son, and he's supposed to be the priest, he's supposed to be the one keeping the house of God. See? So it's the same thing with us spiritual. And who got judged? I don't know if any of y'all read any further than it, but God sent Samuel to Eli to expose what was going on and for him to handle it. And when he didn't, God came and he dealt with Eli. And that goes to show that your family, because everybody ain't gonna believe in God like you. They can pose a very dangerous position for you, especially in leadership when you're afraid to say something, when you're afraid to deal with the issues at hand. And it becomes a very heavy weight and frustration if you don't. So all those things start to compile and things start going on. And when you don't deal with it, this is what started happening. And it started festering and eating away at you inwardly because your conscience is aware. But that is what happened in my transition and understanding because we can delay things. It's not that God didn't answer. It's not that the devil got in the way. It ain't the devil fighting you. It's you and those things that you done did, and you thinking, oh well, it's just God say yes it did. Except you repent and do your first works all over again. And then get up and start again. Try again. You understand what I'm saying? Begin again. But we gotta get to there first because just like I tell people, what's the use of you running from relationship to relationship? If God put it that way, if you're that person, you might know how to shift and transition that way. Like me, I don't carry long periods of time and stuff, hold on to stuff when it comes to relationships. Usually when I exit a relationship, it's been over. They be clueless. And I be like, they be clueless. I be gone. Then they over there cry, oh, she must have been cheating on me because she don't find somebody else. Oh, no, honey. Not to just move the heck on. I seen at whichever point all I needed to see, you weren't gonna change, you weren't gonna act right, and you ain't gonna waste my time. Goodbye. I gave you all the. That's why I say I don't regret leaving or exiting no relationship, whether it's a friendship or whatever. I gave you all the time and space you needed, and you decided. You see what I mean? So it's not on me, it's on you. And that's the way I live. I don't care what nobody else be saying on the outside or whatever, because really only those people know the things that goes on behind closed doors or whatever. Hey, people, I tell you what people can do with their opinion. So that's why I say for God that, and that's what kept bringing, through the grapevine, seeing says, oh, this person, somebody is, and they worried about how they friends gonna view you. Y'all might be into races and different religions. So, you waiting on God to bring something in your life. That is not a good thing for you to be listening. Even they tell you that it's not good for you to be watching that mess. Because it make you dread the situation. And when you're waiting, it's not about you just sitting somewhere still, expecting something to fall out of the sky. No, you got to continue to do your work like he told Jeremiah to stay on the wall. Yes, God is making it happen. He is coming. Even with Ruth, she was out there gleaning in the field, making sure her and her mother-in-law had what was necessary. They necessities in life, right? She just wasn't sitting up there up under a tree, just waiting, oh, just drop it out the sky. No, she had some things that needed to be done, which she did just that. And God brought Boaz right on, to put her in position. The Boaz looked out there, and that's the amazing thing that Boaz had enough sense to trust God or whatever his situation was. And that's an amazing man because seeing that he was in a position to be prestige, he was king, he was in position to make rules and rulership, and all that stuff. Just think about that. And you have people working for you like servants and all of that. So at that point, she was to be looked at as this type of person put in front of Boaz. You know what I mean? What? So you can imagine the people around him. You the king. What would you do with her? She's a peasant. She's out there bleeding the fields. Boaz said, I want y'all to make sure y'all leave the scraps, the remnants, to make sure she can glean the fields and get what she need to feed her and her mother-in-law. Look at that. He got all these hundreds of women or whatever in his palace, in his, look at him, hoping to be the one that's chosen to be picked. They being groomed, this thing get on my nerves. And the reason why I'm on here, because God is ministering to somebody. I don't even know who I am. That just goes to show you. And I done been on here and did 6 hour videos and this phone ain't do none of this. Sorry, y'all, for your ears. All right, I'm done. So, however the case may be, and if it cuts y'all off, I'm very sorry. Um, it's just YouTube, and it overheats my phone so bad. But like I was saying, and it's not that we keep looking at people about money and name brand clothes and all that, and I can say that because I do have um nice things. I carry a Michael Kors pocketbook or whatever. If he's supposed to be important, I don't know, and I don't care. Because baby, I go to Payless and get a bag and pocketbook, okay? And you be sitting up there like, where you get that pocketbook from? I understand that it's you that make things look good, not the product itself. You sell that product, and it's all about perspective. You know what I mean? That what I mean. Okay. Um, but I got pocketbooks sitting in bags with tags, and I don't care nothing but I don't carry nothing but that little pocketbook. Now, if I'm going to preach or something like that, or I have to travel to do something important and stuff, I'll change out my purses to what's needful or whatever. But it's that same pocketbook, and I love that pocketbook. I love that purse. It's not too heavy. It's not too small. It's just right, and I love it. So I, I guess coach my daughter up on her pocketbook. She had this pocketbook, but when she told me how much the pocketbook cost, I closed the door and went the other way. She said, "Mom, wait, come here." I was like, "I don't want to hear no more." This is how I be teasing with my children and stuff, y'all. You have to know my personality and know how I know how to I have things and stuff like that. But I be making them laugh because I be teasing with my kids and stuff like that. Because most of the time, that's what it is. If I go get my hair done, it's usually um the lighter one, the light skin one. She like the third oldest. They'll end up even if I drove my car, she'll come to the salon where I was because we've been knowing those people for a long time, the Dominicans. And she said, "You daughter?" Nihaja. Um, she said she no come with you today. I said no. And I sit up there and I laugh and I listen to their conversations and that's how they got to know that she didn't know my nationality and just because of my skin being dark and stuff that the Spanish was there. And I'm just saying it like that. Those of you who know, you know. Okay. Um, and it was so funny. And she just loved to see me come, and she just made sure that the atmosphere and everything when I walk in the salon, and it feels so good. And that's the way God do things in my life. He aligns things according to the way, and it's no matter where I'm at, what I do, where I go, and it's just amazing to me. But it's usually my daughter, the lighter skin one. She's like the jokester in the family. And she be making all these jokes and she was like, "Ooh girl, you got links." I said, "Girl, who what?" And she just be having the people in the salon. Um no, she's not. Why do I keep saying links? Inches. Thank you, Holy Spirit. If my granddaughter was in here, she'd be laughing. Cause I just repeated it to her, and I had told her that. I said, "Your auntie is something else." But I have a video of it when we was in the salon and she came in there, and I was like, "She did like a video photography." I was like, "Girl, go on." So we went next door to the Jamaican place, and we were sitting over there finna get something to eat. And she was just, people was looking at her like, who is that? And she keeps videoing her hair like that and stuff. And we over there. I'm just that person. I like to be around people who know how to be balanced. You know what I mean? And know how to have fun. I don't have to have drugs and drinking and all that stuff. I never have to have fun. It's just natural for me in where I am and stuff. So, um, but with people like to take your kindness for weakness and stuff, you have to be careful. But when it came to this whole dating things and stuff like that, that is why, and it get a little bit frustrating because I know me sometimes I don't like to be bothered, and I have to really challenge myself to be single this long, that to be open enough when I meet the person. But as far as I'm concerned, and as far as I know what God's telling me, that is not even the issue. And really, it's not because I know how to weigh the spirit about a person that I meet. And usually, God will prepare the atmosphere when I meet that person. That if it's anything between us that we might be carrying or something like that, when we meet, all that's going to be like, whoosh. And that's the way it always been. So, um, when it comes to people talk about reading your life and all that kind of stuff, yeah, that's not for me. Because I know that somebody can tell you something. That's even prophets, period. When it comes to certain personal things, because it's really based off of what you do. God can say something, and it's not that he can lie or anything, but because of your free will, that's why I would never believe in twin flames. But when it comes to your free will and the different things that might be going on with that person and you, because with me, I understand that God is not going to throw me in the den of thieves with some man who got all of this mess, like things from my past. And I'm going to sit up here and be stressing and worrying for, and then talk about the man. Mm-mm, 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 mm-mm. That don't mean we're not gonna have issues and stuff like that. But what it does mean that I trust God enough to know that who He's bringing is equipped for what is needed for my life, just like me. So all of that other stuff and the excess stuff, yeah, you just have to be in alignment and allow God to do what He said He's gonna do. Whenever God say let go of something, that's what I had to learn, and I had to learn that in the worst way. That when God say let go of something, when God say move, when He say don't do, or whatever, it's best to do just that. Because you never know what's around the corner. You never know what's coming in with that person and stuff like that. And that was my problem. It's not that I always been a good woman in a relationship. It's just that I was accepting people that I knew I don't want to say was beneath me, but they wasn't right for me, and I knew that. But I was giving them opportunity to benefit of it out. You know what I mean? Because it did seem like God, He was going to the ends of the world, and He was making this man whatever He was sending me the hard way. And I'm just like, Lord, this is really, and that's what the enemy will do. That's what he did with Abraham and his wife. And they created the Ishmael, something that didn't even have to take place. It causes somebody else because she had a baby now out of wedlock. And then the wife gets mad. And now he has to separate from his child and send the maid and his child off, not knowing if they're going to die or whatever. See what I mean? But God did step in, and he made sure that when Hagar prayed for food, he made sure that her and her son was able to survive, and they do. You see what I mean? But had Sarah just listened to God and waited on God to do what he was going to do, the Ishmael would have never took place. The baby out of wedlock. So people get mad because that's why I be doing, breaking it down to you in modern terms. What the Bible say and what it means for us in the modern day terms. And that's just like um divorcees with children and all of that. And generally people think, well, because I got a concubine and all this kind of stuff and this, that. But when God sees things, that's why He said, what God put together, let no man put asunder. And it sounds harsh, but listen at this. Hear me quickly, and I'm finna close. When that situation arose with Hagar, look what God did. When that situation arose with Hagar, He did not say, she has your son, so the wife got to deal with it, and you did it. See, y'all look for God to be fair, but He's not fair. He's just. And when I first heard of the story, I felt like, oh wow, my God did that. But then I was like, poor Hagar. Like, she was forced into a situation that didn't have nothing to do with her. So then Sarah come pop her big head self up and talk about Abraham, Abram. You got to get rid of the maid and your son. The average man would have been like, what? You know what I mean? And then it leads you to think, like, what kind of man is he? But look how God did it. But He was just. He made sure that her and her son was able to survive. But He also made sure the promise between Sarai and Abram, because that's what their name was at that time. After the covenant, they became Sarah and Abraham because He's a covenant God. So their names change. So that's for y'all who believe in birth charts and Akashic records. See what God position is as opposed to astrology and demonic position is. See what I mean? So that would kind of be impossible, especially when you talk about traveling and having all these different lives. If our spirits never change, we are who we are. Watch this. So it doesn't make any sense. There's no basis to what they're telling you about all these lives and past lives. Your identity does not change. Jesus is still Jesus. Paul still Paul. And whoever else is still them. Okay? When we talk about energy, we talk about spirit. Y'all gonna wake up one day. Y'all gonna see what I've been telling y'all the whole time and what God said. The difference between being intuitive and discernment. You always gotta keep in mind, just like you believe salt look like sugar, you always, and it's crystallized different. You always have to remember Satan is a counterfeit. So everything that God has spoken, he's a counterfeit to what God has already established, deemed, said, and done. So he creates different things, like Jesus in the wilderness for those 40 days. He approached him. If you be the Son of God, do this. If you and do this and do this. When Jesus already knew, but he already knew who Jesus was. He already knew the power that he had. He already knew that he was the Word. But it just goes to show you. And look at the position that Jesus was in his flesh. And when you're hungry, if you ever fasted for over 10 days, you understand. And it takes the Spirit to keep you. But when you're tired, when you're hungry, you don't want to, you just, you know what I mean? And you do, you get cranky and all that. Then here he go, he appear. And he was out there in the desert, in the wilderness. You see what I'm talking about? He like get you by yourself. That's that word, isolation. Everybody be talking about isolation. Isolation could be a good thing, and isolation could be a bad thing. Now you see, the Bible says in Proverbs that a child left alone to itself will grow up to what embarrass you. And um, a idle mind, thank you, Holy Spirit. A idle mind is the devil's workshop. So when people ain't got nothing else to do, what they usually do? Start busybodying, gossiping, getting into all kind of trouble, manipulating folks, being cons and all that kind of stuff because that's the way of life. Because most of those types of people lazy, don't want to work, and it's always some type of, like a lot of them right now with Trump and this bill he done passed and all that kind of stuff. I've seen a couple of headlines with talking about some of these people mad what he said about government assistance and stuff like that. But people have been abusing the system for a long time. And the sad thing is that they need it bad for people who do need it. But it is like one sided. What do you do in an economy like this? Things is going up, and then you have middle class, lower class, which all collaborate people in society. But struggling, working two and three jobs, barely being able to be there with their kids, and all this kind of stuff and stuff happening with their kids because they're not able to and they can barely afford rent if they're one person. So you have two and three people trying to make the the income for one household. Now you got these people that the law is not even put something in place to cap this stuff. Where you go and apply for an apartment, you need to be making times 4 to 6 times the income. With it, you gonna anyway. Just follow that through and understand. But mind you, God never told Abraham to disrespect his wife. When he said send her away and that child, he had to pack them up and send them away. And a lot of times, we y'all don't understand when it comes to marriages, I'm just saying marriages at this point, I wouldn't recommend so many things when it comes to relationships that way. But they go out and they get outside children, or they already had outside children, and I've seen it work in so many ways. Where it can either be that spouse that they had, he just, what I'm saying is, I ain't telling nobody to leave, nobody children, or nothing like that. He has to be able to deal with the matter. You can't just sweep it under the rug. Well, I'm gonna just do this to keep my wife happy, and I'm gonna just do this to keep my child happy. You being pulled every which way. You got the mother-in-law, you got the mother, you got the child, and most of the time, this is child. Especially, it depends on what kind of mama or daddy they have. It's put in their mind, and they don't have to put much in their mind because believe me, and I watch my eyes long enough to know that they get to the point, and some of them do, because I think I had to go through it. I think 3 times, just about with all of them. Whereas there were situations that they knew that they was in the best home that they could be in, and being with their mother, and how I made sure they were safe and took care of them. But when it came to their daddies, they would try to date women who would come in and try to buy the children. They would come in and try to buy my children. So their daddy, when they want to be nasty, will say certain things or something like that. But they can, like what happened with my grandma and me trying to turn me against my mama. They would, not all of them, but the ones that did try to do that. Um, Um, Let me get off here for real, for real. With that situation that I had too, and it hurt to my heart to have to deal with my children that way. But they was getting off the chain. Well, I had to let them know, oh no, you're not. Oh no, you're not. I see that devil, and we finna nip this in the bud right now. So if you think you can do better with your daddy, let me pack your suitcase now. Ask him. I scared him so bad one day. I saw it right there at the window. Believe me, I ain't leaving by this stuff. But ask him. This day will ever be recorded in their mind and my mind. Y'all, you should have heard my children. It's the first time I ever had them heard conversations like that with one another. I packed all these suitcases and told their daddies to come get them. And I said, well, whoever daddy don't show up, the police gonna come get you. Lord have mercy. They was out there in the carport. They wasn't in the driveway. They was in the carport. And I had this business room that was right there. Well, I could look out the window and I stood there and watched them. And they were sitting on their little suitcases, y'all. Oh my God. I almost wanted to cry, but we all laugh about it to the day. It taught them a valuable lesson. It really did. And guess what? None of their dads showed up. None of their dads showed up. And it taught them to respect their mom and where they live. Because nobody was going to fight for them like me. Nobody was going to be there for them like me. Yeah, daddy, yep, and dating somebody who be trying to throw a little money at y'all to try to make it seem like they doing good. The day they circling back around asking me for gas money and stuff like that. Oh, no. So God will give me strategic ways to get their attention. And I was like, well, just sit there. And then I heard one of them, and she was like, it's all because of you. Because you be behind mama back telling us, and da 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 da. Child, you can ask Brother Judy. I mean, just listening to the conversation, it just blew my mind. And I said, it just goes to show people take children to be dumb. They're not dumb at all. They're very smart, very smart. So I made sure I didn't leave that window to keep my eyes on them, but I made them stay out there for a good minute and think about they want to be rebellious and sassy and all that kind of stuff or whatever. And when they started, they see all that their daddy was putting in. One talk about, well, who gonna get off their job? I gotta work. I ain't. Oh, really? Because I done had to leave my job. I don't had to walk off my job to make sure that my children were safe and okay. Getting in trouble in school. No, you can't leave the job. So God had to teach me what I need to know to be able to survive on my own because that is when you work a 9 to 5, they the one to tell you when you can take a vacation and when you can't, when you can leave and when you gotta come back and all this kind of stuff. So God said I never put you here to work for anybody. Actually, I created you to be your own boss. I created you to be a leader. That's why your childhood was different. You couldn't just follow the other kids. You had your own mind. You couldn't just follow family members and different things because God intended for me to be different. And it's the same thing I tell my brother. You are a leader and not a follower. Stop trying to make everybody like you. They like you anyway, not like you think they like you. But they want to hang around you because they knew my mama always had nice things. She always kept the house full of food and stuff so he can come and he be bringing look like he be having a whole neighborhood at my mama house, Lord Jesus. Family members be coming in there, going to my mama's refrigerator and stuff. Now me, I'm a whole nother person in story. You rarely see family members show up at my house like that. But number one, even my brothers, they know better. I dare you to knock my door and go to my refrigerator. No, sir. No, ma'am. That's not gonna happen. I'm very different. And so I'm still just as that old school. You come to that door. If I don't invite you in, I close that door, stay right outside and talk to you. Walk you right on back so nicely, talking to you. And next thing you know, we at your car. Oh, Jesus. So sweet. Okay, God bless you. I was cooking and whatever. We'll talk later. Catch up with you later. Well, I came over here. I'm your best friend. I came over here to spend time with you to talk to you. Oh, okay. Well, we have to catch up another time. Not being rude and mean, but you have to know. And I'm just one of them people. I don't like people all that traffic in and out my house, and people bringing all them spirits in your house and going to your refrigerator. Everybody using your bathroom and all that. Don't blame me. Blame my grandma, I guess. But yeah, yeah. I'm telling you in a joking way, but yeah, we not playing all that. Guys, friend popping up when he ain't home. No, we not doing that. He sent you well. Oh, not my husband. Mm-mm. That you finna sit out there and wait on him. But no, and I'm not gonna let no creep. I don't care how long my husband know him. You finna sit in there and my husband 3 hours away and he come home and no, mm-mm, no, mm-mm, uh-uh. That's how so many people get messed up. Women, well, they've been best friends for 30 years. What that mean? No, we not finna be in the house together by ourselves. You can sit out there. You can even sit in the garage if you want to, if that's what he said. But you ain't coming in the house. My husband hit that door and he greet me. Then he'll tell you where he want to talk to you at or whatever the case may be. And while y'all, I may fish out something to drink or something to eat, and I'm going in another direction or going out to do whatever I need to be doing or something like that. Unless I need to be there for y'all conversation or y'all watching the game or whatever, I'm not going to be in the middle of none of that. If they got a wife or girlfriend or something like that, and we get along like that or something like that, and we have our little girl spot over here and the guys over here or something like that, or all of us come together, but all that, you and his best friend and all that, that's how people, that's why God said in the word, what man can take fire in his bosom? That's what he's talking about. Just like Joseph's situation. It's just like the Samson situation. You know darn well there's only so much. I don't care how much of a disciplined man or woman you are. And when your flesh and you ain't, especially if you ain't had none and all that, that's why God tell you in the New Testament, um, your body is not your own and her body is not her own. That both of y'all supposed to submit yourself to each other that way. And that's just crazy because it's so much opportunity. Because Jezebel waiting. Honey, yes, that spirit is waiting. Jezebel sitting there watching y'all argue, talking about y'all gonna break up and get back together and all that kind of stuff. And, and that's what people don't understand. Because once that devil get a foothold, just a crack. That's all they need. Once he get that door open, it's hard to close it back. When he set a separation between you and your spouse, and if you ever been in a relationship and paid attention to it, and they enter all these things, nobody can even go to the bathroom without one of y'all thinking somebody is cheating. And oh God, that is no way to live. I don't want to be with somebody I got to continue looking over my shoulder. Can't trust you. We do business out here. I can't even trust you to have a business meeting, bro. Do you know what accountability is? It's like for real though. So it's like, I don't know. I just ain't got time to be trying to raise no man. But we finna end or whatever, and I hope this helped you in whatever your situation is. 'Cause I really strongly feel like somebody needs to let something go. That's the way it's going. Somebody needs to let something brings you into a bad situation. And what I see, the reason why I chose not to date nobody and stuff, because people are big liars right now, and you can't trust people. Yes, we have to put ourselves out there, but you got to be very strategic because these people have the whole. This what I learned with that whole social media, what that thing, date site thing. Lord have mercy. 2 weeks for me, boom, gone. Swingers and polygamists and what my mind was blown. I don't know, y'all. I did. I felt like an alien in this world because I was like, oh my God, people do this for real. Thank you, Lord, for sheltering me. I don't care what nobody said about me. I wouldn't grieve no far away, but I thank God that He sheltered me from any of that stuff. Um, because some of the stuff I saw, and I was confused at first when I got on a dating site because I was like, wait a minute. Then I pushed only men. Then all of a sudden oh, Jesus. Mm-mm. And let me make y'all laugh. My daughter had the nerve. She said, well, Mama, it was all about, wait, I think it's called Christian dating something or whatever. Yo, oh my God. I'm trying not to laugh. This girl put me on this thing. And she said, look, Mom, you got some suitors or whatever. I go and I look at the profile of these people. Oh my God, y'all. It was the weirdest thing ever. And I'm sitting up here and I'm just like, nah, God, you just can't be serious. It was the deadest thing that I ever, and these men were like my granddaddy. I was like, take that down now. Take it out. And she just bust out laughing, and I was like, okay, I give up. No, this wasn't even worth me going through all that, telling God I'm gonna step down and all that. And I was like, no. But y'all, just keep on trusting God. You just keep on trusting God in whatever you going through, um, and whatever. And don't be like me, let that old man get your own line talking about what he told me he wants somebody that's gonna move in the house with him. And look, I couldn't get past his profile picture and what he had on there, his age. And I was like, I'm not big on that, which I really don't desire at this point to have a husband older than me. Um, but God can do what He will. That can change at any moment. That's why I told you, you have to understand how God will things. And just because you was prophesied a younger person or this color person, things could change if that person somehow and if things in line. God can re, you know, for it to come to pass what He said in your life. And that's where we get lost when it comes to prophecy so many times. But mine is really uh, distinctive the way God put it. And even after all this time, what God said to me over 15 years ago about my husband, it has not changed. I know that the vessels have changed, but in this particular situation, as the color, I know my husband is not going to be my color. And one of the distinctive things was, you know how your palate chase your food as you get older. Some people have there's certain things that you like to eat and stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like you just don't eat that no more. You don't desire to eat that no more. That's what happened to me. Yeah, that's what happened to me. And I was call myself wanting to date black guys, but it was just something off putting. I had nothing to do with racism. I'm just telling you what happened. And this is what God was doing. And I knew it was strange because I never dated outside my race before. So I knew it was strange. Um, and I pop up at church and the woman of God was prophesying to me because I had the dreams, but I didn't tell nobody about it. I kept it close to my chest. And lo and behold, she hit the prophesying. She hit the floor before we closed out the service. And she was like, prophetess, Sister Natalie, she was like, God is saying, um, he finna send you a husband. And this husband is not gonna play. She said, but you're gonna have to be open minded because from what he's saying, you never dated outside your race before. But this man is gonna be a lot like you when it comes to your demeanor. And he gonna set things in order because you and him, even when it comes to your family and their marriages, and we just gonna leave that part. We're not gonna go no further than that. But God has strategically placed it for us to come together in that way. So what happens when you have people who want to profit lie and see all into your life and all this here and get to messing up? This is what you neglect to see because you thinking that these people have gifts, and because they say something that's seem correct or correct, you forget that there's an adversary called the devil, and he was there to plant confusion, and he can do that by way of anybody that you listen to. And when God has strategically told you something, go read the wise prophet, the old wise prophet, and the young prophet. That's what got him in trouble because God gave him specific instructions. He came and told that young man exactly what God said. That's the same way Satan manipulated Eve and Adam in the garden. And never one time that I read confirmation in the Bible did it change and say that this man was a false prophet. He said the prophet, the old wise prophet. It did not. And it makes you think because the whole time when you read the story, you just like, well, why would God allow this man to come in and trick this young man? And God